with you. I'm going to refer to testimony I gave as a representative of the Army to the UN on December 4th. I will not overstate or understate anything. I'm going to only tell you things that we have seen with our own eyes. It is impossible to overemphasize the number of bodies. There were trucks pulling in, there was no room for all of them. The refrigerated trucks were waiting outside, filled with bodies. There was a scale that Israel has never dealt with before. Second shock was the extent of the cruelty we witnessed with our own eyes. Here are some examples of things we saw at the base. Victims were often shot in several places in the body and then many times in the head. It seemed as if mutilation of these women's faces was an objective in their murder. These barbarians did not show these women any honor in life, but at least we showed them deep love and gentleness as our teams prepared them for burial, the last people that would ever see them. And we held them in our hearts for a moment as if they were our daughters. These are unbearable stories, but I feel that on behalf of my people and my country, I am here to be the voice of those who cannot testify.
These days, we're working on a huge report that is going to expose some of the crimes against women and children. And since the 7th of October, I feel like I've been assigned a new role, not to my choice, and not even that one that I thought that I will carry, even in the beginning, and that is the chair of the Civil Commission on Hamas's crimes against women and children. And really, at the beginning, it was a group of experts that I gathered to respond to the silence of the international community regarding what happened on the 7th of October. I feel the responsibility of being immersed in everything that happened, so I'll be able to bear witness and to give the most professional observation of what happened to the international community. Reports, horrific reports that you already know about people hiding in shelter, being burnt alive, seeking help. Really soldiers, young, I want to say, you know this, but I'm repeating to the international community that those soldiers are only high school graduates that have a mandatory service, and they were calling, many of them were women around the Gaza Strip. They were calling their parents, asking for help, and it was in the Nova Festival, of course. Anyway, as an international scholar, I knew that we are seeing crimes against humanity before our eyes. I knew that this is going to involve the international community very quickly. I knew that these are crimes that are going to also be tried internationally. On the 8th day of the war, I started realizing that no one is responding, that the UN officials are either contextualizing the crimes, keeping silent. Very few express, when I say moral clarity about what happened, and especially women's rights bodies, UN women's rights bodies have kept silent, and I very naively thought that once I'll gather the most credible information and send it to those officials at the UN, I'll be able to change it. We were deeply surprised by the fact that they are not responding. And UN has a responsibility, first of all, a mandate to secure human rights, right? This is their job. They are funded to do this. It's not, I want to differentiate between general human rights bodies. These are the bodies that are mandated in securing human rights. 180 international law scholars have signed this report to make sure they listen. When I say the UN does not get, they do not get such reports from 180 international law professors and human rights experts. They usually get information from small human rights bodies to which they give much credit and credibility to what they say. And once I saw that days are passing and we're not weeks, just days are passing and we're not getting any response, I want to say, it never happened to me, not getting any response. I understood that we are facing a wide denial that is starting in the most important places. And I remember telling to my colleagues, listen, we are going on a very different mission. Our mission is not to communicate with international UN organizations. Our mission is really historical, to collect every piece of information and document every piece of information regarding what happened to women. We are now in the work of documenting everything, collecting the information, and communicating what we have to, as I said, to the most important officials around the world, and we will also be doing this, sharing this with in legal processes. In my vision, this is like a burnt puzzle. Really, some of these pieces are torn, some of these pieces we will never know. And I can tell you now, we will never know what happened to those women and to those children. My goal is not only that the voice of the victims will be heard, but that their voices will be our pledge to a systematic change, a radical change in the international system, in our ability to respond to human rights, to such atrocities, and to secure human rights for generations to come, and for our children, really.